perform quantitative risk analysis. So this is, we saw that what we did, we plan risk management, then we identified the risk. So identify risk, will create risk register, then we perform qualitative risk analysis, which is prioritizing the risk in terms of probability and impact and giving it score, and considering stakeholder tolerances and other factors as appropriate based on risk management experts. We can prioritize the risk. Now usually you can see the risk register. So the we will perform the quantitative risk after qualitative risk. So that is the order. And one of the things that we saw yesterday, all these perform quality till the last one that we are talking about, plan risk resources, right? Or responses, sorry. This is part of planning process group. All the first 5 risk management processes that we are seeing out of total 6. The 6th one is control risk, which we'll see shortly. So the inputs that we can see here is risk management plan, cost management plan, schedule management plan. Risk register is the important one, wherein you will have all the risk identified as a part of identify risk process, and they will be qualified or prioritized as a part of. So we'll usually consider the high priority ones first, as as a focus on risk management. Then as usual, we have enterprise environmental factors and organizational process assets. These are the 3 tools. Here we'll use the expert judgment in case at times data gathering and representation techniques may not be enough. Then we may take the help of the risk management expert who will help us with quantifying or numerically come out with quantification of the risk. Okay, which will have either of numeric values associated with the risk, usually monetary, and sometimes in terms of duration. Okay, so numerical value is important over here with respect to the cost and duration. Those are the 2 important things that comes to my mind immediately for analyzing the process numeric, for analyzing the inputs towards coming out with quantitative risk and coming out with a numerical number. All right. So the second one is quantitative risk analysis and modeling techniques, which we'll see in coming slides. Okay. The output is project document updates. So which document gets updated as part of this is essentially a risk register, and we put those values in perform quantitative risk analysis, numerical values against those risks that are identified in risk register and already prioritized, right? So that's how we do the quantitative risk analysis. So we are seeing here the tools and techniques for performing quantitative risk analysis. So interviews with stakeholder and subject matter experts in the application area, maybe in risk management experts. Then these interviews can focus on worst case, best case, and most likely scenarios, so that we have there is always probability or essentially kind of what is the degree to which it will occur. So you have to consider these 3 scenarios in order to come out with more appropriate risk values. So a lot of times we use decision tree analysis along with EMV. These 2 are again techniques for performing quantitative risk analysis, in which we will combine EMV, expected monetary value of the event that is undertaken, and it is a path that might happen in future, and that branch is evaluated for risk and impact, and we come out with the expected monetary value for that. So the difference between qualitative and quantitative here is expected monetary value will give you something in monetary terms, whereas what we got in qualitative was ranking, which is a multiplication of, again, probability and impact. Okay. So here in decision tree, it considers the implications of choosing one or other alternatives, available alternatives, and each path will be evaluated for risk and impact, that is the expected monetary value of that. So that's what the numeric value we talk about in quantitative risk analysis. All the positive and negative outcomes are evaluated, and individual EMV will be added for decision choice. So in case it is complex tree structure wherein it has multiple branches, and then in case, so when we arrive at the leaf or the last node, in that case we can add all individual EMVs for that particular decision or choice, because along the path there could be multiple impacts, and those will be added. The option of offering the highest EMV should be selected. So this is one of the good area, or rather we should be happy. I mean, in terms of examination, PMP examination, this gives us the opportunity to score exactly without worrying about essentially any kind of ambiguity that is there in most of the questions that we see in PMP examination. So that ambiguity becomes less and less, because this is formula based, and if we understand the path and all and apply it correctly, we will usually get one answer and one correct answer. So there will not be multiple correct answers to be worried about. Then other analysis and modeling tools and techniques involve sensitivity analysis. So this is something, what if analysis, it helps determine which risk have the most potential impact. Also, uncertainty is what I was looking for the word. It examines each uncertainty. That's why we go for pessimistic estimation, because estimation is also something that is going to get validated in future, but there will be some uncertainty which is there with the risk also. So that's how we come out with optimistic, pessimistic, and most likely estimates to deal with uncertainty of the event, risk event, or the kind of estimates we do. Three kinds of estimates we do, right? So all other uncertainty in the projects are set at a baseline value. The individual uncertainty is examined to see how it may affect the success of the project. So essentially, how sensitive we are trying to see the numerical value in what if analysis also. So EMV is something which is expected monetary value. We do this analysis from time to time, and it is based on probability of outcomes that are uncertain. So here one example is there. One risk may cause the project an additional 20,000 if it occurs. So if it occurs in future, it will cost additional 20,000, and the probability is 20% only. So 20% of 20,000 is 4,000 is the monetary value, expected monetary value for the given example or for the given risk. So it can be opportunities are expressed in positive values, risk in negative values, and decision tree, as I told you, it's another technique. This uses expected monetary value, and we'll see the examples in coming slides. Other modeling and simulation techniques, there is Monte Carlo model that can be used. It is typically performed using Monte Carlo techniques. We are just mentioning name over here. You can go back and find out the tool and technique. Simulations are used to identify potential impact of uncertainties specified at project level on key objectives. Simulations are also useful when there are number of project variables to be considered. So you have multiple variables and simulations are pretty useful over there. Then simulations are typically performed using this already we saw, and it uses large number of random probabilistic inputs. So it is pretty complex in nature. As a those professionals who go for risk management professional certification, they have to study these techniques in detail. We have just mention of this technique. Okay. We also use precedence diagramming method, that is critical path method and critical chain method to evaluate risk simulations. They can be these simulations can be done using critical path method, critical chain method, and so on. And a lot of time, cost risk simulation uses WBS as its basis. Work breakdown structure has multiple uses, and it gets touched every now and then. As I said, it can be used as a tool and technique while practically you are working with your team members. When you are involving them in coming out with work packages and defining activities and so on, ideally they commit to those timelines, and while committing those timelines, you have to ensure that you don't assign individual buffers inside those estimations at all. They should be considered separately. Otherwise, they will get consumed even before you know it. Okay. So this is the example of decision tree. So it uses risk evaluation can be done. EMV and Monte Carlo analysis is used for quantifying overall project risk decision tree, overall project risk. Decision tree is used for decision on individual risk. So you can see the branching out. So some X risk, Y risk. So you want to see or come out with risk A and risk B. Okay, this is part of some risk category, either technical or organizational or project management or environmental and so on. So it has two risks, and you can see that the first risk has 70% probability and 55,000 impact. Please note, usually project cost will be given, but you have to look at how much impact it is doing, that risk is doing, and not the so probability has to be associated with kind of probability has to be associated with kind of impact that will make on the event. And so 50,000 is the impact cost. Okay, so this is how so in this basically you have minus 5,000. So again there are two branches, to A and B. So for this branch, the risk comes out to be minus 5,000 plus probability into impact, which is minus 44,600. And here, which is the better option, A or B? B, because you have less monetary value, less negative monetary value, right? Otherwise, in case of, and this is threat, so this risk B is better. So question from Sujata, what is 5,000? So this is again monetary value based on expert. Yes, the question is right. Where is this minus 5,000 and minus 25,000 coming from? So essentially, this is example which is given that for this branch, let's say there could be impact which is already calculated as minus 5,000, and for this branch there is some during the coming till this point you may have calculated minus 25,000 as impact or expected monetary value, which is getting added. So if you remember, for the path we have to consider. So this is something minus 5,000 and minus 25,000, which is not shown in here, but it will be here. Yeah, thank you. So that's what it is. You don't have to worry about. There will be a lot of clarity when you see the questions, and we are going to go through them. Okay, this is another example of which. In which this is clear winner, in which you have this is opportunity kind of thing, wherein you have positive impact because of, so same example which is having minus 5,000, minus 25,000, but as you have positive impact, so you can see the option A is better. So when evaluating opportunity as opposed to threats, as in this example, E would be a better option. Okay. So this is not the kind of this is how this is more towards. All right. The question is how do we know if it is a positive impact? So it will be given that there is an opportunity to save cost. So saving cost is positive impact. Then in case of a lot of business decision, let's say if I'll take an example, I'm doing a build versus buy. Okay. So in this case also, let's say this is build, A is build and this is buy. Okay. Build on your own. So you have a product to be developed for the customer. Either you can build it on your own or you can buy it from the seller. Okay. So this is, so when you are, let's say, building at your own premises, you will save a lot of cost, and that will turn out to be, a positive opportunity to save cost, and hence that will be the opportunity. So that's how we'll know that it is a positive impact, because we are saving the cost. Okay, so that is one example. There could be other examples. Can somebody give me positive impact related examples that you have seen? Because at this moment I am getting only one example, which is saving cost. There could be a lot of other examples of positive impact. Or so yeah, okay, another example that is coming to me is, let's say, yeah, building a newer version of product. So what is positive impact in this? Okay, I have one, for example, iPhone 5 versus iPhone 4 will have the positive impact. So yes, I think that could be an example. The one example that is coming from Sujata is, I'm building a newer version of the phone, iPhone, let's say, so 5 versus 4, because so that's how this is a business opportunity, and usually it will translate into increased sales. You are pretty much correct, Sujata, over here. Okay. And so you can obviously exploit this opportunity by building a new iPhone or a newer version of iPhone. Okay. So yes, I think we already accepted this. Then another example that comes to my mind is, in a plan, certain experienced resources were not available, and we went ahead with the plan, and they suddenly become available. Then this is a positive impact, because we can put these resources to the activities parallelly, and you can crash the schedule or you can save the cost. So those are the activity. So I think we took 3 examples for now. If anything is coming to your mind, you can share in my question box. I'll consider it. Okay, I will share with all of you. I mean.